Welcome. In this video, we move on to fight number 3 in Expedition mode of AEONS End, the New Age. For our Breach Mage, we're continuing on with the Crane here. So player 1, 10 health, got his breaches set up. Starting hand is going to be our Gift of Spirit with 4 crystals. And then our level 1 treasure, we're keeping Garrow's Torch, along with the 4 crystals. We also have access to a level 2 treasure now. So these are going to be cards assigned for the whole group, but we're just playing solo, so it's just going to affect us. So we have this fragment here at the start of the game. Set this next to a relic or supply pile. When a player gains a card from that supply pile, that player focuses one of their breaches. Imbued Shackles, start of the game. Set this next to a pile that costs 7 or more. These cards cost players 1 less to gain. After a player finishes resolving their ability from their charges, that player deals 2 damage. And then Bones of the Deathmind, this is the one I'm thinking of keeping. When a player opens a breach, that player gains a charge. Start of any player's turn, if that player has no closed breaches, that player gains a charge. So that's one I'm going to keep for us. Hopefully we can remember to use that. Gravehold is set at 30 health. We have our turn order deck here. Go ahead and get that randomized a bit. Then to see what's going on with our nemesis. So Battle 3, Introduction. You trek through the woods for hours before Rhea spots something odd. An old man collapsed by a tree a few yards ahead. Surrounded by piles of yellowing bones, the man looks haggard, his skin gray and drooping. If he hadn't been clutching his distinctive chain, you might not have recognized Talix, but the Talix you know is a young man in his prime. Saskel rushes over and kneels beside Talix, laying a hand on the side of his face. Commander, Talix's voice is a pained wheeze. Be careful, it's still nearby. He points a withered finger towards the skeletons. You recognize the symbol of Zaxos on their cloaks, the same cloaks the men who set Magath on you wore. Talix is overcoming by coughing. You look up to see leaves age and disintegrate before your eyes. As their branches grow thin and gray, you stand and turn to see a skeletal creature almost human-shaped, dripping with void essence. Where it steps, the grass withers and dies. You move in front of Talix, ready to defend him. So open envelope 3A, then deck 3A. Use the cards in this deck to set up the Nemesis deck. There are 4 upgraded basic cards in this deck that you will use when setting up every nemesis for the rest of the expedition. We need to fight the Ageless Walker at the end of the game. If we win, we'll go to card 9. If we lost, we'll fight again. And after the second game, go to card 9 either way. Envelope 3A. Got a card divider. And then our minion. Pretty cool looking. So the Ageless Walker. For setup, you see he's a 5 for strength. Each player places a Curse of Aging card in their discard pile. Place a card from the most expensive supply pile face up next to this mat. This card is the start of the exiled pile. It's going to have 80 health. So unleash. Any player exiles a card in hand or the top card of their discard pile. Additional rules, when a card is exiled, place it face up on top of the exiled pile, even if the exiled pile is empty. Cards may be gained from the top of the exiled pile as if it were a supply pile by paying their cost +1. Players may look through the exiled pile at any time. So deck 3A, we've got our upgraded basic cards. So level 1, 2, and 3. So add that with our previous upgraded 1, 2s, and 3s. We have our Curse of Aging. So this cannot be destroyed or exiled. When this is in your hand, immediately suffer 1 damage and draw a card, then discard this card. So we've got 1 more if we're playing up to 4 players. Then we have our base cards for the Ageless Walker. So we've got stack 1, 2, and 3. Then we'll refer back to our chart to see the additional cards we need to add in here. So we need one more from our 1 stack. Hard to shuffle just 2 cards, but this one's the one we're going to get. Then we need 3 from this stack. So put those 3 in there. And then for tier 3, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to need 2 more basic ones. So we'll take our basic tier 3s, give them a shuffle, and add 2 more. And then randomize these cards somewhat. So these are our level 3 Nemesis cards. Go ahead and put those on the bottom. Then our level 2 cards. And our 1s. Then we need to finish up our supply. So the cards we didn't use before got removed from the game. So these are our 3 new options from the previous set. So we've got a Pain Conduit, which is a relic, cost of 3, attaches to any player's breach. When a spell is cast from this breach, it deals 2 additional damage and discard this card. Fatal Harmony, deal 4 damage. Any ally may discard a Fatal Harmony in hand and draw a card. If they do, deal 3 damage. I already know I don't like that one. And then a Bouncing Boom. Echo means we do the cast ability twice to deal 2 damage. So I like having our 3, 4, and 5. We've got a 8 cost spell. While good, I just don't see the opportunity for me to get that much money. So we'll go ahead and replace that with the Bouncing Boom. I like our gems at the 3, 4, and 5 range. So then it comes down to, do I want to keep the Cage Fire? So it didn't work the best for me last time. Destroy the top card of any player's discard pile, or destroy this to gain 2 life. Or a card that costs 7, Gravehold gains 2 life, or any player gains 2 life. And I just don't see me saving the money to get that. So I'll go ahead and replace that with the Pain Conduit, and we'll just see if any of these will work for us. Then these 3 will be removed from the game. And we had one more. Place a card from the most expensive supply pile face up next to this mat. So a 6 is our most expensive. So that will create a different purchase area for us. And we'll just place that over here for now. And with that, setup's complete. We're ready to get started. We will go first. We'll start with prepping a spell. And then we've got 4 gems we're going to use to bank 4 money. And go with our typical starting to get ourselves a recurring Jasper. Drawing into 4 more gems and our torch. Next turn will be us again. We're going to go ahead and cast this to have us draw a card, which is going to hurt because we know that's going to have us, when this is in your hand, immediately suffer 1 damage and draw a card. So we'll take a damage down to 9. We'll immediately draw a card and then discard that. Go ahead and prep this spell. Then we're going to play all these gems, getting us 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And with that, we'll go ahead and buy our first Bouncing Boom. And place these in our discard pile, drawing 5 more. Gift of Spirit and 4 crystals. Next turn is us. We're going to play this to focus any player's breach. We'll go with our level 3. Prep our Gift of Spirit. Play these to get us 4 money. Go in for a Jasper. Next turn will be, we're going to take a damage. Draw a card, and then discard. Now I've got the Nemesis going. So he's starting out with an Age Siphon. Any player exiles a spell in their hand or discard pile, and Gravehold suffers 2 damage. So we don't have any spells in our discard pile. Well, that didn't work out well for us. There goes our Bouncing Boom. Gravehold goes down to 28. Nemesis is going to go again. Finding a minion. So Enveloping Ooze. Gravehold suffers 2 damage. Any player discards the top card of their deck and 5 health. And I'm already not a fan of this guy. So here we go. I'm already afraid to speed through our deck now, so we'll go ahead and just deal 1 damage. We have 5 money. We can put this back on top of our deck, which is going to go well, prolonging that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to go with the Imbued Smash. Drawing up, getting our torch. 2 Jaspers and a crystal. And shuffle our turn order deck for our next round. So round 2 will start with us. Unfortunately, no spells going on. Prep our torch. Play all our gems, which is going to get us 6 money. So we'll try another Bouncing Boom. See if we can hold on to this one a little bit longer. These cards will go away. So we're getting 3 crystals here. We're going to, draw up to our 5, then suffer a damage. Draw a card and discard. Next turn is us. We're going to play this to focus a breach. Going to play our gems to get 3 money. And focus again. Since we focus this breach, we can prep a spell to it. Done there. Next turn goes to us. We are going to cast our Imbued Smash, deal 4 damage, which will take out the ooze. Then the rest of this, you may discard a card in hand. If you do, deal 2 damage to the Nemesis. We will discard a card to draw First Blood on our Ageless Walker. Then we'll use our Gift of Spirit to do 1 more damage. We'll play our Recurring Jasper to get us 2 money banked. And since we have a spell down here, put that on top of our deck. Play these to add 2 more money. Then we'll spend that to open this breach. And place our Bouncing Boom there. 4 cards here. Then our 5th. So when this is in your hand, we're going to take another damage. Draw a card, and that gets discarded. Next turn goes to the Nemesis. So he comes at us with a Temporal Leap. Power 3, so nothing we can do to stop this. The players collectively exile 2 cards in hand. So that could be dangerous depending on what happens. Then we'll get a chance to go. Casting our Bouncing Boom with Echo from here. So we have +1 on cast, which affects both of these. So we're going to be able to deal 3 damage and then another 3. So total of 6, down to 71. Go ahead and prep our torch. We have a spell on top, so we can put these 2 on top of our deck. But we're banking 4 money. Play these to get us to 6. I did forget when we opened that, we did get a charge. I'm going to spend 2 to get us another charge, and 4 to get us a force amplifier. So that's still 3 damage. To cast from an open 3 or 4 breach, deal 1 additional damage. And drawing into a lot of gems. And the Nemesis goes. Remove a power token. Draw another card. So Hissing Acid. To discard, we need to spend 6 ether. Getting 3 power on it. Reveal the top card of the turn order deck. If it's a player turn order card, unleash 3 times. Otherwise, any player suffers 5 damage. So we don't like the Hissing Acid. That's going to end our second round. Shuffle these up. And our next round starts with us. We're going to cast this to focus a breach, and it's going to deal damage. We will focus this one down to 70. Spell on top. Bank 4 money and put these on top of our deck. Then we'll play these for another 3, so we're up to 9. I'm sorry, 7. And we're going to spend 6 so we can discard the Hissing Acid. And for our next round, we have us going again. We can play our gems, which will get us 5 money. We're going to go ahead and spend 4 to open this, which will trigger getting a charge. Then we're going to prep our spells out. Getting 2 here. And 3 more. We're going to take a damage down to 5 and draw a card. Next goes to the Nemesis. So Engulfing Madness. To discard, we need 8 money. 2 power, unleash twice. Any player suffers 4 damage. Then Nemesis again. So this is going to resolve. Players collectively exile 2 cards in hand. Well, we're going to get rid of these. Then take one off of that and draw another one. Rush of Madness. We need a lot more money. Power 3, unleash twice. Exile a card from the most expensive supply pile. Gravehold suffers 4 damage. And just to clarify, we cannot exile this. So next turn is us. Doing our Imbued Smash. Both effects are going to get +1 damage. So We're going to start with 5, discard another card for another 3. So we're doing a total of 8 damage there. Discarding a crystal. Down to 62. Then we'll cast this to deal 1 damage, down to 61. Then we're going to prep our spells out. Next round, a little bit of money. We're going to have to spend that to get more money. So last round goes to us. We get +1 damage on each of the effects. So this is going to deal 6 damage. So Echo, we do that twice, +1 for each of those. Down to 55. And then this is just going to deal 3. Prep a spell. We're about to take 4 damage, so we're going to play each of these so it can bank 4 money. We'll spend 2 to get our 4th charge, then use our ability. Focus any player's breach. Any player gains 1 life for each open breach you have, so we'll gain 3 life. Then spend our final 2 to put a charge out. Drawing into those. And our favorite card, taking a damage. Drawing another card. And shuffle return order deck. And next turn is going to start with us. We'll do this to focus a breach and do 1 damage. So this is now open, and when we cast from here, Gravehold gains a life. Prep a spell here. Spell on top. So both of these are going to go on top of our deck. We'll bank 4 money. 5 and 6. Unfortunately, we need 7 and 8. And with 6 money, we're going to go in for some Energized Rubidium. So we gain 3 money. Any ally may discard a card in hand. If they do, that player gains a charge. And once again, I just use that to focus our breach. We open that, which gets us a charge. And now every turn, when we start our turn, we're going to gain a charge. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Our next turn, still not enough money. Nemesis is going to go. We're going to unleash twice. So we can exert a card in hand or the top card of our discard pile. So we'll lose a crystal and another crystal. And any player suffers 4 damage. So we'll go from 7 to 3. Take a charge for power off of that one. And our new card is the Sky Trimmer. Spend 7 money, 1 power, unleash twice. Gravehold suffers 4 damage. Next turn will be us. We will gain a charge since all our breaches are open. We are going to cast this, which is +1 damage on both instances, along with discarding a card. So we'll be dealing 8 damage down to 43. Prep 2 spells. We have a spell on top. We'll put both of these on top of our deck, getting us 4 money. Spend 2 to get a charge. Use our ability. Focus, gain 4 life. Then spend our final 2 down here. All right, now I've got a money turn. See if it lasts. It is our turn. We'll gain a charge. Let's see, what have we done here? Nemesis is going once. So when player bouncing boom, that's going to do a total of 6 damage, down to 37. Then this is going to deal 4 damage since it was cast from an open 3 or 4 breach, down to 33. Then we'll heal 1 from this. Then with our recurring Jaspers, we'll bank 4 Aether. Spin these for 7. Then spin 7 on this one to stop the Sky Tremor from going off. Those 3 go there. All right, we got our favorite card. We'll take a damage. So we're down to 6. Drawing another card. Next turn's the Nemesis. So we'll get rid of 1 token off of that. Then we'll get a minion, a Timeless Serpent. Immediately, any player exiles 1 card in hand. And the Persistent, any player discards their most expensive card in hand. We got to deal with that dude. They've got to exile 1 card in hand, which is going to be our Crystal. Then it's going to be our turn. We're going to prep a spell. Then we're fortunate enough to have 7 money in hand. So we can get rid of Rush of Madness. And start of return, gaining a charge. That's hard to remember. So our next round is going to start with us going. Lots of spells. First, we're going to start with dealing 2 damage. Well, do we want to go all out on this and just accept that or not? I think we'll just try to take care of this guy. We'll put our 2 damage there. Prep them like so. We're going to play this to bank 1 money. Can't buy anything. So 2 cards. Hey, look at this. Pop back up again. Down to 5 health. Next turn, Nemesis. Any player discards their most expensive card in hand, which is going to be our Energized Rubidium. Then we unleash twice. Gravehold suffers 2 damage, and the player with the most expensive prep spell discards that spell. So we're being separated. Well, we're unleashed twice here. Gravehold goes down to 27. Our most expensive spell goes away. Our turn. We'll gain a charge. We will spin this along with discarding a card to deal, well, first 5 damage up here. So it's down to 5 health. Then we can discard a card to do 3 damage to the Nemesis. Then this will deal 4 damage, down to 1. We'll heal up to 28. Then over here, deal 1 damage. Use our ability to heal 4. Use this to gain 2 money and put this back on top of her deck. We'll use 1 to buy over here. That's what I should have done earlier. Forgot about those. And then we'll draw 3 cards there. Then we've taken a damage. Drawing into a bouncing boom along with these. Next turn goes to the Nemesis. He's got the Burden of Knowledge on us. So power 3, the players collectively exile 2 cards in hand or discard pile that costs 2 or more. Now it's getting serious. Next turn will be us. Go with the Bouncing Boom on the +1 damage. And our torch over here for some healing on Gravehold. Of course, start of our turn, we would have gotten a charge. So we're going to bank 6 money here. And I'm going to get that to buy 2 tethered darts. So deal 2 damage, cast from a 3 or 4 breach. We may put it into an ally's hand, and we count as our own ally. And next turn is us, gaining a charge. Dealing 6 damage there. Down to 24. Then we will deal 1 damage here. And heal up to 29. Then our spells. Gift of Spirit, Imbued Smash, and Force Amplifier. A spell on top. Discard that for 2. So I've got 3 money to play with. I think I'll buy 1, 2, and 3 crystals back. End our turn. Drawing 2. 3, 4, and 5. Take a damage. Getting our Energized Rubidium back. And we're ready for another round. And for this one, Nemesis goes first. Remove a power. And Eradicating. Unleash twice. Any player discards their 3 most expensive cards in hand. All right. Unfortunately, we don't have a deck to go through. Unleashing twice. So we'll get rid of Tethered Darts and the Crystal. Discard our 3 most expensive cards in hand, which is going to be everything else we've got. So that did not go well. Next turn is us. We gain a charge at least, and we're done. Well, guess we do have spells to do. Just nothing to discard to make that worse. So that's going to be 5 damage down to 18. Then this is going to be 4 damage down to 14. And heals Gravehold like brand new. And then we'll deal 1 more damage down to 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next turn is us. Gaining a charge. Spin those so we can heal 4. So we're back to max health. Prep some spells. Spell on top. So we'll bank 2 money. Got a total of 4. I think we'll go with some Tethered Darts and buy a crystal back. So we know what that is. We're taking a damage. So our next turn has a lot of gems. Nemesis gets a turn. So Hex of Destruction. To discard, spend 8 money. Power 2, unleash twice. Gravehold suffers 4 damage. Any player destroys the top 4 cards of their deck. Walker's getting serious. And it's our turn, gaining a charge. We're going to deal 6 damage, down to 7. Then we'll deal 1 damage, down to 6. And we can't heal any higher than 30. We are going to play this to gain 3. Any ally may discard a card in hand. If they do, we gain a charge. So we'll do that to gain a charge. So we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 money. Actually, that's a terrible plan. Should have done my math first. Take that back. We've got 8 money. We'll get rid of the Hex of Destruction. I'm going to choose to not put that on top of her deck. So that goes to us. Tons of spells. Recurring Jasper gets us 2. We'll use that for a charge. Drawing 5. Then we'll see who gets to go next. Do we get to end the game, or does the Nemesis get one more attack in? We get to end the game. So we've got 6 health. We'll just go with the Imbued Smash with the card, doing a total of 8 damage. And that will end the Ageless Walker. So it took me a while, but I think buying back our crystals is the main thing to do on that. And of course, this guy's ability for all the healing was crucial. Battle 3, Conclusion. After you finish your battle with the source of the surrounding blight, Rhea steps forward, ready to incinerate the remains, but you hold her back long enough to examine what is left of the creature. Skeletal body looks older than the world itself, the face sunken beyond recognition. On his cloak is a symbol of Zaxos. Just like Arachnos, this man was a mage once, but now he is more nameless than human. The thought chills you. You had no idea that there were so many followers of Zaxos still out here, or just how dangerous they had become. You're pulled from your reverie by Talek sauntering up to you, restored from his untimely aging. I thought I was done for when I ran into a bunch of Zaxos cronies, but this thing showed up and killed everyone, even its own brothers. Well, it wouldn't have been everyone if you hadn't saved me. Talek nudges the creature's body with its foot. That thing walked like a human, dressed like one of theirs, but there was no humanity behind those eyes. Commander Soskull grows serious. Perhaps that was what Arachnos wanted me to become. Silence falls across your group as you all pause to consider what might have happened if no one had come to his rescue. Talek breaks the unhappy silence with his usual exuberance, but hey, we won. Throws himself around Soskull's shoulders in a dramatic embrace. Never thought I'd see you again, Commander. With his chin still on Soskull's shoulder, Talek tosses an irrelevant salute. Soskull shakes his head and pushes Talek off of him. Rhea pats her lost companion roughly on the back twice, barely concealing her amusement. I can't leave you alone for 2 minutes, can I? After the reunion, Talek begins. When my squad went down against that spotter, I was helpless. Soskull had been taken, and all I could do was run. I took what treasures I could from my fallen teammates for safekeeping. I'll show you where they're buried. You follow Talek, enjoying his energetic chatter. Finally, he stops beneath a strange tree, digs a little, and comes up with his hands full of treasures. He hands them out to your party. So we'll open Deck 3B and add all those cards to our barracks. Then open Envelope 3B and add Talek to our barracks. And when we're ready for the next battle, we'll go to 11. So deck 3B. There are level 3 treasures. So you've got a staff here. When you gain a spell, gain a life. A flowing mantle. Start of your turn, gain a ether that can only be used to gain relics. When you gain a relic, you may place it on top of your deck. A forgotten trinket. Start of your first turn of the game, focus each of your closed breaches once. Or accelerating gauntlets. Start of your first turn of the game, gain a card that costs 4 or less. Shroud of Obfuscation. When you cast 2 or more spells during your casting phase, gain 2 money. And a Precision Magnifier. Spells you cast that cost 2 or more, deal 1 additional damage. Lots of nice stuff in there. Right now I'm kind of leaning towards these two. We'll see what happens when I start the next game. Some new cards we've got here. So Farnasium, gain a money, discard up to 3 spells in hand. Gain a money for each spell discarded this way. You may place this on top of your deck. And then for supply, I've got a whole lot more sparks. Unrefined Blaststone, gain 3 money or destroy a card in this card supply pile. If you do, deal 3 damage. Link Conduit, attach this to any player's breach. 2 spells may be prepped to this breach. And Reverberating Shock, Echo, so we do the cast ability twice. Deal 1 damage, gain an ether that can only be used to gain cards. There's some interesting stuff there. Then Envelope 3B. We have Talix, and that explains all the extra sparks. So he gets one of the special cards, 4 sparks in a starting hand, and then the same thing in a starting deck. He's got Soaring Ash. Destroy 2 sparks in hand. If you do, shuffle your turn order card into the turn order deck, or Gravehold gains 5 life. Pretty interesting. And that concludes our Fight 3 of the Ageless Walker. As always, I hope you enjoyed this playthrough, so please click on the like button below and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.